Sensibility refers to an acute perception of a responsiveness towards something, such as the emotions of another. This concept emerged in 18th-century Britain, and was closely associated with studies of sense perception as the means through which knowledge is gathered. It also became associated with sentimental moral philosophy. Origins. One of the first of such texts would be John Locke's essay concerning human understanding, where he says, "I conceive that ideas in the understanding are coeval with sensation, which is such an impression emotion made in some part of the body, as makes it to be taken notice of in the understanding." George Cheyne and other medical writers wrote of the English malady, also called hysteria in women or hypochondria in men, a condition with symptoms that closely resemble the modern diagnosis of clinical depression. Cheney considered this malady to be the result of overtaxed nerves. At the same time, theorists asserted that individuals who had ultra-sensitive nerves would have keener senses, and thus be more aware of beauty and moral truth. Thus, while it was considered a physical and/or emotional fragility, sensibility was also widely perceived as a virtue. Criticism. Objections to sensibility emerged on other fronts. For one, some conservative thinkers believed in a priori concepts, that is, knowledge that exists independent of experience, such as innate knowledge believed to be imparted by God. Theorists of the a priori distrusted sensibility because of its over-reliance on experience for knowledge. Also, in the last decades of the 18th century, anti-sensibility thinkers often associated the emotional volatility of sensibility with the exuberant violence of the French Revolution, and in response to fears of revolution coming to Britain, sensible figures were coded as anti-patriotic or even politically subversive. Maria Edgeworth's Leonora, for example, depicts the sensible Olivia as a villainess who contrives her passions, or at least bends them to suit her selfish wants. The text also makes point to say that Olivia has lived in France and thus adopted French manners. Jane Austen's Sense and Sensibility provides a more familiar example of this reaction against the excesses of feeling, especially those associated with women readers, and many critics have seen the novel as a critique of the cult of sentimentalism prevalent in the late 18th century. The effusive nature of many sentimental heroes, such as Harley in Henry Mackenzie's The Man of Feeling, was often decried by contemporary critics as celebrating a weak, effeminate character, which ultimately contributed to a discrediting of previously popular sentimental novels as unmanly works. This concern coincided with a marked rise in the production of novels by women writers of the period, whether they chose to write in a sentimental mode or not, and played a significant role in larger debates about gender, genre, literary value, and nationalist political aims during the last decade of the 18th century and the first decades of the 19th, when the national tale emerged in the wake of the French Revolution and England's ongoing conflict and highly fraught union with Ireland.